Namaste. Good evening. This is Surya Jeedigunta. Thanks to all of you for taking your time to join us in this virtual meeting. It's good to see all of you in this lockdown, as you only see your family members, but now I'm able to meet you. I personally know many of you. Most of us used to meet in meetings and conferences, but the world has changed in the last 2 months, confining many people to their homes and also altered the way we live, we work, and also we need to make some adjustments towards our whole lifestyle. So what is that life is going to look like? There will be so many constraints and challenges as we go through this coronavirus pandemic, and that's why we call this session as navigating through COVID economic crisis. What is the economic crisis we are staring at? Most economists are saying this is going to be the worst recession since the Great Depression of 1929. So what will be the implications to all of us in terms of employment, businesses, lifestyle? So in this talk, I'm going to touch upon three important themes. One, the state of the economy. Second, reopening of the cities. Third, the role of citizens of this country, of what we can do. So let me go to the first one, the state of the economy. The pandemic has caught the whole world. I mean, it's not just any single country, it's across the world. All the countries are bearing the economic catastrophe of big proportions not seen since the Depression of 1929. The world is going into a recession. Most indicators show a far steeper drop in economic activity. The airline industry is in a complete shutdown mode. Railways, it's a washout in the last 1.5 months. The hotel industry, the tourism, every sector is affected. And banks will have to brace for a surge in NPS. There will be a lot of risk aversion. Banks will not be forthcoming to give credit. And corporates also, they are into cash conservation mode with their capex plans and projects on hold. Even the top IT firms, they have signaled taking aggressive cost-cutting measures, including cutting down the subcontract costs, travel, freezing travel expenses, freezes in salary hikes, holding back the variable payments, and many others. So with this situation, Prime Minister of India has come up with a slogan, Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. What does that mean? And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. What does that mean? That means like from survival to revival. The government has announced recently 20 lakh crore stimulus. The whole idea is every country is looking inward looking. Nobody wants to depend on
much on the external countries. They want to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and able to handle their own affairs on their own. So where do you get this kind of money? 20 lakh crores is a huge amount of money. I mean, if you look at the government coffers are empty completely. One of the biggest revenue generating oil, even the consumption is very, very low. So we have to raise bulk of this borrowing from the capital markets. Like bonds, multilateral loans, offshore investors, or direct, indirect taxes. So these are the different modes of revenue. That's what the country is going to need to raise this kind of money. So what is the path ahead for us? If we want to revive the economy, how should we do that? Mere tweaks of reducing taxes or lending rates will not get anywhere that what we are aiming for. So here I am proposing something like a Marshall Plan. If you remember, after Second World War, Japan was completely distracted. Germany was completely distracted. Europe is, just came out of war after complete destruction. So they have come up with something called a Marshall Plan to invest heavily on their infrastructure. And look at where they are right now. They have got fantastic infrastructure after 50, 60 years. And I think for India and for many other countries, this is like the World War II kind of moment. Just that here the enemy is unknown. It's a virus, but it has done enough destruction. So just like the Marshall Plan, I think we need to rebuild India. We need to modernize our infrastructure. We need to so what kind of infrastructure we are talking about? The biggest, employment generator, and also the one that will have the multiplier effect is the energy. Renewable energy, smart grid, advanced metering infrastructure. These are the areas that needs lots of investment, that generates a lot of employment, and it's going to have a ripple effect in improving the economy. Similarly, transportation. You will be surprised to know, like, it's cheaper to import, the freight cost will be less to import from China than to import from, get it from Delhi to Chennai. The freight cost per ton from China is around like 4,000 rupees per ton, whereas from Delhi it is around like 6,500 rupees because of high petroleum costs, and also like we don't have a dedicated freight corridor. The average speed of these freight trains is like around 30 kilometers per hour. So unless we have I think now they're planning to build a dedicated freight corridor that will improve the speed of these freight trains from 30 to like 70, 80, then the cost will come down. So transportation. Third, obviously the healthcare sector, that needs a lot of investment. We need to focus on the R&D part of the healthcare sector. And already we have got a lot of pharma industry in cities like Hyderabad. So there will be a lot of R&D to build the drugs and all those things. Third, and the fourth is the skill development. That is where we need to stress, because we are entering into an era of Industry 4.0, where there's a lot of digitization, there's a lot of automation, there's a lot of data collection. So we need to prepare the workforce to suit to the needs of Industry 4.0. And we need to really work on the areas of skill development. How do we identify the areas of skills like data analytics, data mining, research in the electric vehicles. These are the areas we have to invest heavily in order to take advantage of the big market that is emerging for Industry 4.0. And also, like, there'll be a lot of companies, MNCs, which would like to move out of China because there's a lot of anger against China. Now, can India take advantage of it? Can India fit the bill in terms of matching their productivity? So this is where, like, the land acquisition, labor reforms, liquidity, all these laws, particularly the enforcement of contract and all those things. I think these are the 4 areas that what Prime Minister has touched, and I think these are the 4 critical areas if we want to attract some of these MNCs to come and set up industries in India. So India can play a very important role, particularly because if you look at the global, how do we fare in the global trade? We cater to roughly like 2 to 3% of the total global world market share, where services occupy the maximum proportion. So there is a huge scope for India to take advantage of this global world market, but for that we need to be prepared. And as I said, like land, labor, liquidity, and law. I think these are the areas which, if we focus, I think then we can clearly take an advantage in terms of capturing the global market. There will be definitely some supply chain reorientation happen, like as these MNCs, they want to move their operations to countries other than China. There will be some kind of a reorientation, but we need to quickly grab that opportunity because even other countries would like to take advantage of that and try to speed up the process of taking advantage. So, as I said, focusing on infrastructure, electricity, energy, roads, bridges, ports, hospitals, cultural centers, railways, telecom. These are the big investment opportunities where I think the 20 lakh crore stimulus the major portion of it will go into these areas. So in summary, the state of economy, yes, it's in a recession. There's a lot of challenges, but because of the demographic advantage India has and our unique position to rival China, there are definitely opportunities. If we can rise to those opportunities and capture those opportunities, then I think we will emerge as a winner. So it's all ability to rise to the occasion, fit the bill of what is needed for these MNCs to come and set the companies here. Now coming to the second theme, that is reopening of the cities. Lockdown is quite simple. In one shot, like you say, like, please, everybody lock down in your houses. We are able to do that. But reopening is always a challenge. So far, like we have demarcated into 3 zones: red, yellow, and green. And green is where like not many cases, I think 0 cases. And they come back to economic activity quickly. Yellow in a limited constraint way. And red is where the hotspots are. So how do we open up our cities? What if, like, the companies wants to open up, but employees are not there, or they don't want to come back? If you are aware, like, government has come up with something called a Arogya Setu app. It's a app that I think nearly 10 crore people has downloaded. What this app does is it does the contract tracing and also release the medical advisories now and then to users to contain the spread of the COVID-19. So what is the advantage of this app is it uses the Bluetooth of the smartphone, and then it tries to be in contact with the nearby communication devices, whoever has this, smartphones. So in that way, if somebody is tested positive, then for the government, it's much easier to trace whom he has contacted in the last few days. So this app will create a log of virtual IDs with which this device is in contact with neighboring devices in the last few days. So that log is there. Through that log, they can easily find out like whom this person has contacted. So that is one app which the government will use, and I think it will make it mandatory also for travel also. If you want to travel by train or flight, they will make sure like you have this app and you are not positive. That will be the precondition to travel. And yeah, there are some privacy issues and all those things, but now the benefits outweigh those privacy issues. So I think they will go ahead with this app. The other thing that came like blessing as a disguise is the smart cities. When we announced the smart cities, we never thought like there will be like a pandemic like Corona and we have to face this kind of stringent lockdown and all those things. But the smart city command center, which is like a command center through which the entire city operations can be managed, whether it's traffic, security, utility services, and all those things. So now these smart cities are using this city command center as a COVID war room. So from that city command center, they have the dashboard and where they can spot all the hotspots. See, city is divided into different wards. And from that dashboard, they can find out like, where the hotspots are, where the cases are, and how fast it is spreading and all these things. So there is a real-time data of how many people have contacted, how many medical people are on ground, the city-wise data. This is a real-time data that is put together with a host of software and applications. This really has a big advantage in order to monitor and control. Again, thanks to the foresight of we setting up the smart cities with the city command centers. Otherwise, it would have been really, really difficult to contain coronavirus. So this is, one is the app, the second is the city command center, and the third is the work from home concept. I mean, this is particularly applicable for the IT related companies where we are seeing already they are allowing only 30% of their staff to come to offices, rest all people work from home, but and on a rotational basis. Now, this work from home has some risk associated with it. The corporate boards, they have to have a risk management committee to assess the data security risk, because if somebody is working from home, there is always a risk of data security, client confidentiality, and also you need an uninterrupted network, right? I mean, we are in a call. If tomorrow suddenly there is a snap out of internet link in an important business meeting. So these are the kind of risks that the boards has to analyze, and they have to come up with new solutions, some decentralized solutions where people can work from home. There will be enough security. There will be something kind of like virtual private networks through which people around the globe can work without worrying about the security of the data. And so work from home, city command centers, Arogya Setu app. And the fourth thing I want to talk about is not related to technology, but the general governance of the cities. Particularly because I lived in US, I worked in US, what I see there in the cities is the cities are driven by mayors. Mayors are empowered and they completely hold, manage, and develop the cities. In India, it's the other way around. I mean, mayors pretty much they have a very minimum say. They always look at the political bosses for any decisions. So they are not really empowered. And that is the reason why our cities, they develop in a haphazard manner, ad hoc basis. Whenever there is a crisis, you fix it. It's like firefighting. Wherever the crisis is there, you kind of fix it and then move to the next crisis, rather than not having a long-term plan. I mean, if you look at New York, the town planning, the grid planning, the New York City, it's like a grid, right? You have perpendicular roads. That plan is developed in 1805. So that's the kind of vision they have. And I'm sure this pandemic will also drive the way, will bring a big change in how the cities are designed and managed. Diseases shape cities. If you look at the history, right? Even the city like London, only when in the mid-19th century, it has a big break of the cholera. That's when they changed it, they developed the urban planning and management and converted that, River Thames thing in a beautiful way. So there will be a big change in terms of how the cities will be designed and managed. And I'm hoping this is where there should be a strong lobby to empower our mayors. Mayors plan for the city, commissioners manage the city. Day-to-day operations managed by the commissioners, and mayors have a long-term plan, vision of what the main goals, objectives of the cities are. I mean, what will be the main objectives? It's like creation of jobs, healthy society, managing city services. So this is what the mayors are supposed to do, and I hope from this pandemic some change happens in the way the cities are governed. So I come to the end of my second theme, which is opening up the cities. Now the last one and the most important thing is, what is the role of citizens? We as a citizens, what is that we can do in terms of improving our country, improving our cities, reforming our country, and emerge it as a stronger power. One thing is clear from this COVID-19, people wants to live in harmony with nature. A more sustainable, inclusive, and economic approach to urban growth. That is what citizens are looking for. And also, if you look at one positive thing from this coronavirus is there is a lot of local informal groups. Almost every part of India that has risen in organizing free meals or shelter to poor people. So these are normal people who have risen to the occasion of organizing free meals, shelter, and all those things. So imagine if these people can do that. Now we who have got so much of networks, we are into social media groups, we are into WhatsApp groups, we have got expert groups. How much we can do? what is that we can do in order to shape our city and country. So here what I'm proposing is, can we have a city level digital platform? See, at an individual level, we are into various WhatsApp groups. I'm part of a group in architecture. I'm a part of a group in entrepreneurs, in software. Somebody will be part of a group in finance, marketing. So can we have a platform which will absorb all these groups? The idea is to create a system where it allows innovative ideas, creative ideas to flow across the city, and use the citizens' social media to improve the or harvest these best ideas, do mapping strategies. Somebody has an idea, somebody needs is an investor, mapping these two people. Somebody has got a project in hand, but he needs a working capital. So some kind of a mapping. If this guy has interest in his project, then that kind of a mapping. So we need to create a networks of data flows, service flows, money flows. That is the idea, where you have a city digital platform, and the WhatsApp admins can feed whatever data they have to this city digital platform, and at the city level, whether it's a city manager or a group of people, they can do the necessary mapping, connect, synergize, and the idea is to come up with new ventures, improve the governance, and solve the city problems. Already some cities like in Spain, US, they are doing it, but at India also, we need to have this kind of a setup. I'm already in touch with the Smart City Mission in Delhi. So we want to extend it to all the remaining 100 smart cities. So this is the idea which I'm really trying to push. The mantra is connect the different people. Today, through this Zoom meeting, I'm able to meet so many smart people, intelligent people. So connect. We have got so many WhatsApp groups, and we can connect and collect the data. Today morning only, I have got a person who sent me a proposal that he has got a project and he's looking for some kind of an investor for the working capital, and everything is there, the license and everything is there. So the projects are there, and there are some investors who are willing to invest. So connecting them. So collect, and analyze and act. That's the whole idea. So with this digital platform, we should be able to achieve this kind of a connectivity, and and on top, once you have this kind of a digital platform, we can do many more things, from the city point of view, surveillance systems, smart parking system, smart solid waste management systems, intelligent traffic management system, able to connect the CCTV volume of traffic and then sync it with the traffic light, so that it becomes a dynamic traffic light management, and environmental management monitoring system. Recently, you have heard the news in Vizag, where because of some pollution, so the release of the poisonous gas, so many people have died. And Vizag, they announced it as a smart city. Had they installed, climate pollution sensors, they would have got the alert much early on, and the company would have shut those, boilers, and the danger could have been averted. And, India produces those pollution sensors. IIT Kanpur has already these climate pollution sensors at a fraction of a cost of what the rest of the world produces. So we need to kind of, this is where miscommunication. Somebody builds these sensors, but he doesn't have the marketing to take the, these products to the rest of the country. And here, we are still searching to find the solutions. So this mapping can easily happen. if we have a platform at the city level, and all these cities we connect at the national level, so that the best practices can kind of transfer between the cities quickly, the peer-to-peer transfer of the solutions. So with these three themes, I would like to kind of conclude. In summary, the state of the economy, it's clear. It's going to be like, a big recession, depression, whatever you call it. And major changes are going to happen. So the companies, people, everybody needs to get prepared for this. Second, opening up of the cities. We have got few tools in our hand to take advantage. And important thing is build on that. And the third, the most important thing is the city digital platform, through which ideas are shared, new concepts are shared, harvested, and there is a lot of synergy mapping that happens. With these words, I would like to conclude, and I just want to say this is just the beginning. We will have many more sessions like this, but more focused with entrepreneurs, with investors, with software architects, so that we're going to brainstorm, come up with better ideas, and share it with that city digital platform and at the national level. So with these words, thank you very much. I hope I kind of able to share some good information to you people, and I'm looking forward for any conversation. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Murali.
Yeah, thank you, Surya. Actually, it's a wonderful session. What you have shared, a very good insight about the state of economy and the opening up of cities and the governance to the digital platform. And before actually I talk about few other points, there are few questions to address. Lakshmi Rao, thank you. They have actually been asking some details pertaining to the migrant labor who have reached their homes, need to come back to work at SMEs. So what is the way forward is point one. And second question was, how do we convert our cities to become engines of growth by Ram Mohan Suri? And third one, actually,
one by one. First, let me answer. The first one is migration, right?
Please. Migration, that's right.
See, migration, if you look at total, if you see how many trains they have put, the Shramik trains, how many people have been taken through these trains, how many people have gone through the road transport. I think it will be less than probably 50 lakh people, 5 million people. So still, I think around 70 to 80% people still remain in the cities. And once if they don't find any employment in the villages, once they go, whatever villages they went back, there's no other choice but to come back. So first is, I don't think more than 10% people have returned back to their villages. And even that 10%, they have only two options. One is that Narega, MG Narega, through which they get some kind of employment. But again, if they see, if they can find a good package going back to the cities, I think they will going to come back. So I think migration labor, I don't think that will be a big issue. Probably for the real estate and all those things, it might they have little difficulty to get them back. But there will be obviously some lull period. Real estate is not going to start quickly. So the next 5-6 months, how the government stimulus is going to act and what is the benefit these migrants are going to get in their villages. It all depends on that. And those people are going to weigh whether to return to the cities or stay back in the villages. Some people, I think they will prefer to stay back in the villages, but we have got enough population even in the cities itself. So we should take advantage of them, provide them employment. I think workforce will not be a problem in India. There are plenty of people looking for jobs.
Yeah, I have a point to share from my side, what I have information.
Yeah.
Just now, I've been attending one webinar connected to the textile segment. Actually, I take the liberty of sharing to you all. Please, what I could grasp it. The migrant labor, what people were talking about, yeah, would have been actually a better option. They would have been earlier informed. They would have gone and come back, because nobody knew at what point of time they're going to do the restarting of the operations. That's one point. And people were actually looking at, because the textile sector is concerned, when we refer to that sector, they say the volume of our input is low, and the present trend is slightly lean. So on account of this, even the migrant labor are not available. With the local labor, they can run through their operations to a level of about 30%, which is actually their demand pattern meets to that actually. That's one area. And the beautiful entity, one good information, what they were talking about, the textile sector is, they were indicating this grant given by the government is very much suitable for the textile sector, with around 20 crores to 100 crores. It's a great actually decision taken by Prime Minister Modi. That's what they were sharing. And also there is one area in Coimbatore called KPR Mills, where they've engaged almost about 22,000 feminine genders, migrant laborers who are staying in hostels. They provided the hostel facility. They all came from Orissa. So the quantum of actually progressive activities, what being done by the manufacturing organizations, highly appreciable. And yes, it's a very good point raised by Lakshmi Rao. And I think it's going to actually surge into right dimensions slowly. And as actually the days moving ahead in the right spectrum progressively. That's what I feel. And the way what I could see is the trends in coming days. The migrant labor is one of the important factor, but actually what industry is demanding, industry came to conclusion to go more onto automation and digitization. And that's what they were referring. Anyhow, now I think we'll go back to actually to our question point, actually what has been actually being raised for the next question.
Yeah.
And the next question is actually by Ram Mohan. How do we convert our cities to become engines of growth? Yes, Surya.
Yeah, I mean, that is the challenge, and that is what, like, it's an advantage and a disadvantage. If we convert just our cities as economic growth engines, then all the migration will happen to the cities, and cities get congested. So now I think it's time for us to have a equitable growth, not just like, few cities of high economic growth. So equitable growth across all the cities. So you have like 100 smart cities, and how we can make these 100 smart cities like 100 engines of economic growth. So first is, we have to improve the governance, because all, whatever this 20 lakh crores, right, that stimulus, at the end of the day, you need to have projects to get this kind of money. I mean, most of this money won't be in grants. It will be like, either loans, or it will be like, bonds. It will be like, some kind of direct, indirect taxes and all those things. So the cities have to come up with new innovative projects. And this is where I think they need to tap the outside talent. I mean, I interact with so many people. I speak at so many conferences. There's so much talent outside the, the typical bureaucracy of IAS officers. There could be a great, entrepreneur. There could be a great administrator. There could be a great finance guy. There could be great implementation guy. So tapping the outside talent, that is one thing. Second, able to form projects. See, at the end of the day, it's all projects, right? Projects what, attract funds, and projects is what drives employment and growth. So if you take like, energy, you need to kind of segment all this, the different projects into different areas: energy, transportation, IT, software, architecture, and all these things. So you segment them, and then identify the champions in all these segments and ask them to drive these areas of growth, and set them the targets, saying like, in 1 year, this is the kind of funds you got to raise, and this is the kind of projects you have to execute. Set the targets, set the milestones, and it should be in a mission mode. That is when we can really take advantage and drive. I mean, you see, all these people here, like all of you people are so talented, but is the system utilizing all the people well? The answer is no. So when the same people, they go abroad, they become great successful people. Why is that? So fix the system, where you reward merit people. Second, the governance, the city governance has to change there, and from there they have to kind of attract the talent, and then, like, have a clear milestones to achieve it. So then I think all these cities can drive easily growth. There are a lot of challenges the cities face in terms of like sanitation, energy, traffic congestion, open spaces. So you need to address each one of these one by one. And the first step is once we create the digital platform, the second is identifying the champions in each of these segments and give them the targets and create a competition between the cities. You do that, I think all these 100 cities, they can become the engines of growth, and whatever learnings we have, we can pass on to the villages also. I mean, it's not just the cities, we can convert our villages also into smart villages. Whatever learnings, expertise we build here can be transferred to there, extended to there. So I think there is a huge potential, and the changes has to happen from the top. I hope, Ramon ji, I answered your question. Are you looking for any other?
Yeah, he is also asking, actually, one more beautiful point he's saying, is there any way to have a different form of governance in cities in India? Can the city corporation be made as PPP model, private partnership models, for private-public partnership models for attracting investments and trying out innovative models of governance?
See, the smart cities, right? That is the whole idea, where they created a parallel SPV, special purpose vehicle. And the idea is you bypass all this, typical bureaucracy of, municipal corporation, and let the SPV raise the funds on its own, create projects. Now there will be like, tug of war between the political entity like the municipalities and the capitalistic structure like SPV. So there will be some kind of a friction between these two entities. But there are more than PPP and all these things. I think we need to get the right caliber people at there. And once you have the right caliber people there, I think you can see big changes that are happening in the city. Even in the cities like Surat, right? If you take city Surat in 1990s, early 1990s, a plague-like situation has happened. A lot of people have died, but they got a very good dynamic mayor, and he was able to bring about big changes in terms of the healthcare, in terms of controlling this pandemic, and now it's one of the best administered cities in India. So PPP models and raising money through bonds. See, the other thing is, to give you a comparison, US raises around $3 trillion through municipal bonds every year. $3 trillion. India is very minuscule, like 5,000, 6,000 crores, only 1 or 2 cities. And most of the cities, they basically survive on the grants from the central government. 80% of the grants go for the salaries, remaining money to run some operations. So where is the money to invest in new projects? And all the credit rating will be junk for all these cities. So I think we need to do some course correction. If we want to have improve the city services, then we have to improve the quality, get the right people, and make them accountable. See, the other problem is mayor is appointed for 1-2 years. By the time he understands all these things, he will be transferred to some other city or some other department. So there is no way the mayor gets enough authority or empowerment to really run the city, drive the city. So the tenure of the mayor has to be increased. and he should be held accountable for everything. Like if the bridge collapses, he should be held accountable rather than like, pointing fingers to like, we are not managing the roads and all these things. So give him full authority and make him accountable. That is one area, one thing. Second, at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for all these services. So we need to think in those ways, like, how do we raise money? If you raise money through bonds, then we have to kind of deliver on, the rate of returns and all these things. So all that, financial implications, everything has to be taken care. So that's the only way we can improve the cities, make them accountable, and drive the cities. That is what is going to happen, hopefully, for the future.
Yeah, and thanks, Surya, for the wonderful reply. Actually, what you have shared, the valuable points that what you have been indicating, that the individuals need to be responsible. Here, I see a viewpoint here that there should be a cultural change when we want to build our cities. When you look back, actually, our own cultures with regard to various festivities, I was doing a rough calculations during actually Ganapati Chaturthi period. The quantum of statues which have been actually spending to a tune of almost about 1,200 to 1,400 crores. So the quantum of money for utilizing for the development, in one area we bring back everything into our actually tank bund, and actually then we try to take the sludge out and all that. So I am of the opinion, when you want to build cities, we need to commonize for the benefit of actually all the citizens. We need to compromise in certain factors, restrict ourselves to certain dimensions and move forward. And also the PPP models, they are very good, but all in all, the government support is an important entity, because today we are talking about 20 lakh crores investment. In 1995 itself, when P.V. Narasimha Rao were actually the Prime Minister, they were investing 26 lakhs worth of crores of investment which was flowing in. So the quantum of rapid investment which should flow into the country, now actually people are realizing what is the need for the country. It's very good, beautiful question you are asked, Mr. Ram Mohan. We have to move aggressively on PPP model as well as regard to the government models as well for building up our cities, actually. Yeah. And hopefully we will see that in future. Now, Ravindra Menon is asking few questions. He says, to have a system to register migrants at cities and have the data at national level, track Aadhaar and mobile, link the benefit payments to digital payment platforms for migrant laborers. So
yeah, that's a good suggestion. Like, once you have the record of who is leaving the city, and if there is a need to contact them, I think that's I think they can do that, right? I think now with all the digitization, they will be able to monitor who is leaving the city and where they are located.
Yeah, and
I see
the next question from Ravi.
PVGR has raised a hand. Let's unmute him so that he can ask the question. Hello, Mr. PVGR. Good to see you.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. I am Vijay Gopal Reddy. Myself and Surya meet now and then at FTCCI. We have some common interests. So it is very nice to see this gathering, and I would like to share a few things in the same. Now, regarding the economy, now let us assume this challenge that we are going through should become an opportunity for us, especially in the context of people, disliking. There is an international distrust towards China, so that on that we can encash. Yes. So for that, subsidies and freebies or some certain things are not the durable things that economy should have. Rather, we should make some few structural changes. Here, as Mr. Surya has rightly pointed out, few things that need to be done at this point of time. I would rather say for improving our global competitiveness. One is the interest rate. You see, any manufacturing concern, unlike in the many global manufacturing giants, there the interest rate is only 4-5%. Now we have about double that interest rate over here. So once interest rate should be brought down, the government is now in that direction, but that magnitude is not sufficient. It should be further down. Or they should make a mechanism wherein the repo rate can be applied at least to the MSMEs. So that is interest rate is one, which across all spectrum of manufacturing, it would be applicable. Similarly, the other is transportation, logistics, which Mr. Surya again has pointed out. The cost of diesel is laden with more than 100% of tax. So this is creating extra burden and cost on all manufacturing. So the other is the energy. Our energy is laden with the cross subsidies. And see, I would like to point out one small tweaking, or rather the GST Act, the original one, it has proposed that both the fuels as well as electricity be brought under GST. Now there is a component of about 30 to 40 paisa tax which is not being passed through in the electricity. So if electricity is brought under GST, that becomes a pass through, and to that extent electricity would have become cheaper without doing anything.
Yes.
Yeah, just this point. And the other, similarly on the fuels also, diesel is also brought under GST. To that extent, we will get a relief for the transportation. So energy and fuels should be brought under GST, and interest rate, these are all in the regulated domain, which government can do easily. The other thing, smart cities, which you rightly mentioned, they should become the growth engines for the new economy, and work from home has now opened challenges and again opportunities. The real estate and other commercial this thing suffer.
In fact, some major companies have said, like, they're going to do that work from home for the next 1 year, 2 years. So it could be a permanent future, like work from home.
Right.
But that again brings a new opportunity where the security aspect, the data security, the client confidentiality, all these areas where how do you have algorithms to handle this kind of data security challenge?
Yeah, right, sir.
Okay.
So the other is, of course, the alternate energy, which is your pet subject. Now,
that will be taken
renewable energy, yeah, especially the solar and rooftop is not really catching up. In the smart cities will be only smart when they are sustainable.
Yes.
So rooftop is one of the beautiful things, but our discounts, because of their short-sightedness, they are not promoting it properly.
No, it's basically they don't come up with innovative models to make money. They want to make money easy way. See,
Right.
who will go for rooftop? It is the commercial customers who pay 8 rupees, 9 rupees per unit, and that is the most profitable customer base for these discounts. So they don't want to lose this customer base. So that's why on paper they say, like, we encourage rooftop, but behind the doors they completely obstruct the growth of rooftop. So it's like, I mean, you create more productive workforce, you create new revenue models. Then you don't need to worry about all these revenues from a high cost commercial customer. So you don't do that.
Right.
Now you have to, like, do all this kind of hanky panky things.
Right. So with EVs, the emerging sector is now electric vehicles. That goes very well with solar and rooftop and all these things.
Yes.
For energy independence.
Yes. No. I mean, like, I think that will be the future in the next coming few years. Solar with 175 gigawatts of renewable energy, and EV. I think our dependence on oil will come down drastically. So we also appreciate in a big way, and these changes will happen. It's just a matter of time. This COVID coronavirus, it has probably, like, put some of these issues in backseat for now. But in the next 1-2 years, the pace will pick up, and I think we will go in that trajectory growth rate as far as renewable energies are concerned and electric EV mobility.
Yeah, one point I have to share, Mr. PVR. I think once you complete, I'll talk to you, sir. Yeah, please continue, sir.
Just all the best for your digital platform. It is much needed.
Yes.
Because in the city governance, there should be a parallel, as you rightly mentioned. See, these politicians have their politics priority, but not people.
Yes.
See, like in Electricity Act, where there is a public interaction before every tariff and such things. Similarly, in the municipal administration also, there should be a public interaction. Yes. Actually, we have those standing councils and all that where we can go and appeal or talk about, but they're not normally used. We also have to start using those platforms, and otherwise they should also create room for public argument rather.
Yes. Thank you, PVR ji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. PVR, actually, very good points you shared with regard to rooftops are concerned. Actually, Surya, this is one key area in your presentations. You should actually share the good insight to the people of citizens of our country, giving actually the economics onto rooftops, because it's going to benefit. Very good point raised by PVR, and well said, sir. It's a really good point for actually citizens. It's very useful. And yeah, the other one actually, I think one more question was there from Mr. Ravindra Menon.
Yeah.
Surya, that is the question I think we need to. How to create, Ravindra Menon, have a system for this regarding migrants, you said you have answered. How to create reference governance model to adapt standards to go for ISO certifications. How to create a reference governance model, adapt and standardize to go for ISO certification for services.
See, I think what we're talking about is, in other words, benchmarking the services. Okay. So this should be done at the national level. For example, each city, they have certain services like, water, transportation, solid waste management, energy. And we have to set some benchmarks like, what is your downtime? If you take like electricity, what is the downtime in a particular city? And you take an average benchmark and put it at the national level, and this is the benchmark that each city should aim for. Similarly, transportation, going from point A to point B, how much time it takes across all the cities, and you benchmark them, and then you see like what are the best performing cities, and understand like how they are able to do that, and you create a standards based on the best performing cities, and that standards every other city can follow. That can be done at the national level. This is where, like, I think again the city digital platform will help, where the ideas, the benchmarks that each city do can be transferred to at the national level, and from the national level, the best practices can be shared with across all the cities. That's a very good suggestion, and I think the standards pretty much have to be there if we want to kind of like take advantage and speed up the process of achieving the smart city concept quickly. There is one Lakshmi Rao. I think he raised a hand. Let's unmute him.
Yeah. Rather, he can actually.
Hello.
I think, I can. You please go ahead with your question.
You can hear me, right? So I am not disabled. I have not enabled my video.
No problem.
There's a reason for that. There is this internet problem if I enable video. Okay. So I have a few points here.
Yeah.
One point is, yes, certainly the city single smart city platform is a very good idea. And we have seen a lot of people, capturing the need for that and all that.
Yes.
But one thing is we have to see the total control structure, workflow structure of the infusion which has been given to kickstart the economy once the thing goes out, right? Which is, as we speak, the third day of the announcement is coming from Finance Minister.
Yeah, mostly agriculture, I think.
First day was on MSME. First day was for MSME. Second day was for migrant labor, more or less. And the third day,
road vendors.
Third day is for agriculture.
Yes.
Agriculture and road vendors. So the point is, and one of, I think probably first day itself captured discoms also.
Yes.
The reforms in discom sector.
Yes.
So the question what is going to come here is, how is the control flow of the infusion going to take place? States are already, we are seeing rumblings in certain states where they are telling that how are we going to play a role in this entire model? Is it going to be cities who are straight away with center, or states are going to play a role in it? So once states start playing a role in it, it will get jumbled. As you know, governance model is not totally isolated from the political model in India.
Yeah, obviously, right? I mean, that's why I said like mayors are not that powerful, and they always look at their political bosses. Okay?
Yeah, so that is at one level. That is between the city and the state. But I'm also talking between state and center. So
Okay.
there is it's a top-down federal problem. And the second issue which I put in my comments also was, now already with the Shramik trains, migrant labor have gone.
Yes.
Most of them, if not 100%, 60-70% have gone back. And they are now refusing to come back. Yeah. And they have refused. See, the general pattern is there are 5 cities supplying migrant labor. UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha. That's basically the 5 eastern cities, you can say. They supply migrant labor, and the consumers of that are Karnataka, Telangana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, the western, agriculture rich, industry rich, and Tamil Nadu comes here somewhere in between.
Okay.
So the people who have gone back are already in isolation wards and heading for home, and it seems they don't want to return back. So it takes a gestation period for MSMEs. They need to be convinced. Of course, they will be convinced because they are getting their benefits also as part of infusion. And then there is a PDS issue, the public distribution system issue, which comes in smart cities. Today, PDS, if you look in US, there is a different type of PDS there in smart cities. You also lived, I have also lived in US.
Yeah.
So their PDS depends on the economic, level of the
Poverty level.
For the person, poverty level.
Yeah.
So the public distribution system also, they are suggesting, I think they will talk more about it on day 4 or I don't know when the finance minister will touch. One nation, one card. Okay.
No, I think that's what they suggested, right? I mean, anybody anybody having a card can take these food grains from anywhere in the country. So
right. So now the question is, unless the control structure of the infusion flow is solidified and consensus and a consensus is reached on that, that together with your platform will kickstart the economy post. I will not say post COVID. I will say post lockdown, because I personally feel that COVID is going to remain. It's going to remain as immunized. It will go into stage 4. When is the question, not if. Every country is accepting that it's a microbe which is going to stay.
Okay.
We are not going to wait for vaccine to come. There's no cure for it.
So we have to live with that virus.
Yes, we have to live with that virus
and wear masks all the time.
Immunized till we get immunized. See, ultimately, some of the smaller countries, they've got immunized, and Sweden and all that have passed worst stages, and they are not having masks, but they keep social distancing. Now, our country, one of the things in transport, what you're talking, is we have to open up the metros. When I say metros, I mean the metro rail.
Yeah.
Right? And in cities like Mumbai and all, Delhi and all that, metro trains and these single rail trains and all that, which are coming as part of infra. And then there, with this kind of population, we have to strictly enforce social distance.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then there will be a big wave of COVID.
Yeah.
So that is something we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. I think your points are well taken. As you said, the capital infusion, what is the flow? What is the structure of the flow and all those things?
Yes.
And second is living with the virus. That is another important thing. Citizens, everybody has to prepare, how to live with virus at the same time continue with their economic activity. This is where I think we need to really take this up, and hopefully with the city digital platform, we will be able to share these new things, ideas.
Yeah.
The city.
So we need to, along with that, city digital platform will help to solve the infrastructural, the technical issues of infrastructural picking up of the infrastructural thing after post infusion or post lockdown, and governance model and all that. But the control flow will determine with whom they say city judicial platform will have interfaces with.
Okay.
And the control flow is very ambiguous at this point. It will take into a different discussion. So I don't want to do that. We can both talk offline.
Yeah, let's do it offline. Huh? Thank you, Mr. Lakshmi.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Surya, with this, actually, I think we have covered most of the questions.
Okay.
And in my opinion, thank you very much, actually, for Rahmohan Suri and Mr. Lakshman Rao and Mr. PVGR, Ravindra Menon and Rajan Kotadi for actually participating. And we thank you for your involvement and sharing actually valuable points. And it has been well taken. And we have to move very aggressively. That's what I was talking to Surya also, the last point which I wanted to share to you all. Of course, it's not connected to COVID, but all in all, for the development of the city and the country, we need to have a good economical rail transport system. Not only this metro rail, we need to have trams and the rail system, the electric rail system. We need to have it at a very low cost for people to travel. And only then there would be a very good actually development process could take place in various sectors. That's what I feel personally. And looking forward as an example from actually Bombay, where Bombay has taken a very good shape with regard to VT to Karjat, what they have the train track. So that's what with this actually I want to convey thanks to you all for giving your valuable time and joining. And Surya, you have actually last round points to share. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to share my thoughts, ideas with all the accomplished participants. And this is just the beginning, as I said. We are going to have far more similar discussions. See, we are sitting at our home and happily communicating. So this is the best luxury you can have. No need to travel in the crowded roads or anything. So let's take advantage of these platforms. And the idea is we have to convert the ideas into some concepts, projects. That is the ultimate goal. It has to translate into projects, and it has to raise funds, and it has to create employment, and it has to improve the cities, empower people. That's the whole idea. And I'm going to pursue this with the central smart city mission, and also we're going to tap the city level, at the local level, state levels. And the more force we have, the people will be much more forthcoming to listen. So I hope we're going to have much wider participation in the next couple of meetings. Anyway, I'm recorded this, so it will be on social media. People can listen, and I'm very happy to kind of connect with all of you people. So with these words, thank you very much, and see you soon.
Surya,
thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Surya, just one this thing. You keep it in our Smart Digital Bharat portal.
Yeah.
This recording.
Yeah. Sure.
Upload into that.
Yeah.